We're talking about the super challenging fact that a lot of people are going to go through. Very rarely, I think Doug Flutie's parents died on the same day, like hours apart.
Wow.
But that's pretty rare. Or, I mean, certainly you could have a car accident or something like that where both go. But typically, like my dad passed away in 2008. Well, my mom's still alive. So that's a long time to go without your husband. After that year or so, because it's about a year that everybody says don't make any major decisions when you lose a spouse, right? You're going to lose the lower of the two Social Securities. You might lose some or all of a pension. Now, congratulations. The government says, congratulations, you were married for 40, 50 years. That's fantastic, but you're going to have to start filing your taxes single. Now you have the biggest tax hit you've ever gotten. So after that time of, hopefully the plan was in place before, which we've talked about, before something happens, where do they go from here? Once they kind of get their feet back on the ground, and I mean, they're never going to lose that emotional feeling, I'm sure.
Yeah. Again, the best time to do it was, in advance, right? But if for whatever reason that didn't happen and folks are out there and they've lost a spouse recently, I mean, the first thing I would say is, hey, let's sit down and make a simple list of all the factors. Number one, your income sources. What do they look like now? Your pension that perhaps your spouse had. Do you have a survivor's benefit on that? What's that look like? Your Social Security, right? What's that going to be now? If you were the lower earning spouse, you will get your spouse's benefit. But you're going to be losing what you were getting from your benefit. So what does that look like now? Review that budget. What does your monthly expenses look like now that you're only paying for one person, right? Like obviously gas goes down, food, clothing, that kind of stuff. But some of them remain the same. Obviously, any housing expenses, that kind of stuff, you're going to not see a difference in there. Insurance coverages on toys and houses and car and all that. But review those expenses and let's create a new budget that you understand and comprehend that you need each month. And then where are those income sources? Where are they falling between Social Security or pension? How much of that is that covering for you? And can we bridge that gap with some different strategies to make sure you have that income you need each month?
401ks, IRAs. I don't know. Do they automatically shift to a surviving spouse, or do you have to beneficiary them? I'm not sure 100% on that.
Right. So so let's say the husband passed away and the wife was the beneficiary. Hopefully she was the beneficiary. And I would suggest to everyone out there, before you pass or your spouse passes, let's double check those beneficiary elections on all of your accounts, right? Your retirement accounts and otherwise. Because oftentimes people, they're on a second marriage, whatnot. Maybe they just forgot and they never updated their beneficiaries. Most people don't want their ex receiving their retirement account. So you want to double check that, right? And especially when you receive an account like that, hey, it's time to update, right? Because if mom inherits dad's 401k and now she has it in an IRA, all right, well, let's make sure she's got the beneficiaries that make sense for if something happens to her. So that's huge. And just understanding where you are. You've got this huge taxable account, for example, in a 401. Does mom need all that? And if she doesn't, if she's meaning to pass it to kids, is there maybe a strategy we can use to get more of those dollars to the kids than just dumping it all into them at once as a taxable account? So, again, Roth conversions can come into play there. Strategically to lessen some of that tax hit.
So you bring up the Roth. This might be a great time to talk about your Roth Blueprint offer. You certainly have that opportunity for folks.
Yeah, we do. And the Roth conversions, people have heard of them. It's a confusing topic. There's a lot of things that go into that in terms of repercussions and things you need to consider, some 5-year rules, some IRMA impact and taxation impact. But for a lot of our clients, it's the right move. It's not right for everybody. It doesn't make sense for everybody, but that's what our Roth analysis, our Roth Blueprint will provide is, a simple call in. We can get the information we need from you to run that analysis for you and show you for your specific situation, A, does it make sense to consider a Roth conversion? And if so, what's the optimal way to do it? How many years should we spread that over to spread the taxes? How quickly should we do that and increase your lifetime wealth? And when we talk about lifetime wealth, we're talking about everything that you've gotten out of the IRA and then ultimately what you leave to your loved ones. How do we create the optimal lifetime wealth? And we can show that. It's super easy. We just need 10 minutes to get the information we need to run that. And then we jump on a Zoom with you and we show you exactly if, how, and when it makes sense to do a Roth conversion.
You think about it, Mitch, that's we talked about one of the challenges of losing a spouse. Obviously, number one is emotional, but you're going to lose the lower two Social Securities. You might lose some or all of a pension. And then, hey, congratulations, you're married for 50 years, but now your taxes go up because now you're filing single. This is a part that could really help if you move some of that IRA 401k money into the Roth world. This helps a surviving spouse.
Well, exactly. And oftentimes that's one of the things that it might make sense to do sooner than later and maybe not wait a year, because if that year your spouse dies, you can still file jointly, right? So that might be a year to do maybe a little bit more of a Roth conversion than perhaps the next year when you're filing single. So that's something that, again, the Roth blueprint analysis will show you all that, and it'll show you exactly, in your situation, how you should do that. And if you choose to do that, that's on you, but at least we'll show you the math. I always say it's not my opinion, it's simply math, and we'll show you the math on it, and you can make a decision from there.
And here's the key is don't everybody just go take your IRA 401k and turn it into tax-free money by paying taxes to move it. It makes sense for a lot of people, does not make sense for everyone, does it?
No, it doesn't, and it all comes down to your specific circumstance, right? What are your other income sources? What's your total income? And so, again, we can go through that. We'll run it for you. And if it doesn't make sense, again, the math will show that it doesn't make sense. Don't do that. You're going to end up paying, having less in your pocket overall than if you converted. But a lot of times, Mark, and one of the things is who knows where tax rates are going in the future, right? So even if it was an even wash, it still could make sense from the standpoint, hey, once you have it in the Roth, now you have control. You're no longer subject to the vagaries of Congress on what tax rates might look like in the future, right? You get it in that Roth, now you get rid of that silent partner of the IRS. Nobody owns their whole retirement account. You got $1 million in your 401, you don't own it all. You got a silent partner called Uncle Sam, and here's the worst part, you don't know what percentage your partner has until the end of the game when it comes out. What business agreement would anyone ever agree to that was the case, where you didn't know what your partner owned, right? It doesn't make any sense, but yet that's right. What most of America's done.